One of my all-time favorite crops is fresh ginger. And the reason is, number one, it adds a funky look to a greenhouse. It's relatively easy to grow. There are some key points I'm going to go over, but hit those key points and it's relatively easy crop. And it's aromatic, and so especially in a tomato greenhouse, you got the smell of the tomato leaves and then the smell of the ginger all wafting together. And then it's also popular with customers. We've never not sold out of our ginger. The only limiting factor is space in a greenhouse. It is a more tropical type of plant, and we've not been successful as far north as we are here growing it outside of a greenhouse environment. The challenge would be that it has such a long growing season, often 8 or 9 months or more, and so it eats up a lot of room in the greenhouse for a long time, and I have a hard time justifying that space in the greenhouse, and so that's kind of a limiting factor for us for our ginger production. And the kids are going to help show you how we do this. So what I do is I'll put our ginger seed into these 24-inch, or these 10 by 10, 22-inch trays, standard trays for your plug flats. And I space those ginger in here so there's a few in, and there's a little bit of space between each of the seed pieces that goes in. So this is for pre-sprouting, okay? And you want to get your ginger ordered so it arrives on your property at the time when you can give that ginger consistent heat, okay? So for me, that's about mid-March. We've got the propagation house up and running, we've got consistent heat, and we can get some crops germinated and get this ginger to pop. So the thing I do actually is put this in my germinating chamber for maybe 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and I start to see it. When I start to see it pop, then I'll pull it out of that germination chamber and put them in my regular propagation house. So key point number one with ginger is that it is a creature of comfort. And so a general rule is that if you're comfortable with the temperature, then the ginger is going to be comfortable with the temperature. So usually it likes about 70, 75 degrees. If it gets too hot, the ginger's uncomfortable. Colder, and it's uncomfortable too. So it's kind of a picky crop. It likes a kind of a narrow range of comfort, narrow comfort zone. And so that's true after you transplant too. And that's one of the reasons I like to actually put it next to indeterminate tomatoes you see growing over here, because the sun comes up on the east. It's going to shade these ginger crops. The indeterminates are going to provide a bit of natural shade cover for the ginger, which you don't need if it's cooler, but here it does get in the mid 80s, 90s, and that's pretty hot, and to have direct sun and that type of heat is going to be a source of stress on the ginger. So if you don't have natural shade, such as from an indeterminate tomato, then I do recommend like a 40% shade cloth over it during the hottest, sunniest part of the growing season. Now, next I want to talk about actually transplanting the ginger. And what I've done is I've created some raised mounds here, and I treat ginger much like I do potatoes, in that we're going to hill it continuously throughout the growing season. And these raised mounds, which Leander is deconstructing, these raised mounds are going to be loose, they're very fluffy, so the ginger root has plenty of room to grow large rootstock, and it's also very fertile. I've added plenty of high carbon compost in here, and as I plant my ginger, I'm going to add a scoop of composted duck manure, a generous handful of composted duck manure, as the ginger goes in, and that's going to give it all the nitrogen it needs for the first chunk of its growing season, maybe a month or 6 weeks. And then 2 or 3 times throughout the growing season, maybe every month or 6 weeks, I'm going to add even more composted duck manure, that high nitrogen fertility source. And this stuff just keeps eating it and eating it. And by the end of the season, if you have kept up with that fertility schedule, you'll have nice big ginger. Okay, let me show you how this transplanting happens. Anyhow, what I do is I plant it at about 12-inch spacing. and I don't need a trowel. This is loose enough. And my tomatoes are also at 12-inch, so I can just kind of look over, and I do this often with transplanting. I'll just look at a crop next to the crop I'm transplanting to figure out what my spacing is. And so about 12 inches, I'm going to create nice shallow trough. Then put a generous amount of duck manure in. Then pull one of those seed pieces. I'm going to tuck it directly into that composted duck manure. And then just give it a little light press. Let's do another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're transplanting. Yeah, mound it up.
Mound it up.
Like I said, we're going to treat the ginger like potatoes. And so just as we hill our potatoes, we're going to actually hill our ginger too. And so maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the season, as I'm adding the composted duck manure, we're going to also hill that ginger. And because the root wants to grow above the surface. However, you want to keep that root below the surface or it's going to green up on you. When it comes time to harvest the ginger, I know it's ready just by looking at the roots. Has it sized up enough? And the thing I like to do when I harvest the ginger is actually look at the root, and often the season is just not as long as I'd like. I'd ideally give it another 2 or 3 months. However, usually by mid-late September, we're no longer heating it. It's no longer hot enough. We're not going to turn the heaters on late fall in the greenhouse. And so we're just going to harvest what we have as big as the seed pieces are. And many years we'll have 2-3 pound nice sized seed pieces even here in northern Indiana. And then we'll take them to market and sell them at a price range of usually $12 to $15 a pound. And by all means, sell the tops too. Take them in. Those tops are beautiful. Look, give your booth an exotic feel. And you can cut those tops up as tea. So tell people this is green leaf ginger for fresh ginger tea. Just pour some boiling water over it. And so it's kind of a 2-for-1 crop. You can sell the roots, and then you can sell the tops as a separate item. I have purchased ginger seed from 2 places. One would be Mitchell Greenhouse in North Carolina. And I've also purchased seed from Clean Seed Hawaii. The Biker Dude is what he's known as online. And to be honest, they have both sprouted just fine for me. So you could do some price checking, check out the varieties they have, what kind you might like, and go that direction. In general, I like the pink ginger. My customers love the pink color of the ginger, so that's always a favorite. And the best variety I have grown is the Big Kahuna. It's not available all the time, but that has done the best in our conditions.